Well, it's that time again. Welcome back to the Snug Wrestling Podcast. We're going to be doing predictions for Crown Jewel. We are days away, getting closer and closer. And like always, the Wednesday before the big PLE on the weekend with Snug Wrestling Podcast, we're going to get into the storylines, the matches, predict some of the winners and the outcomes, and just try to get hyped for this Crown Jewel, because I don't know about you guys, besides the time and the start time of this, I'm pretty excited for Crown Jewel this weekend. How about you guys?
I'm extremely excited for it. This card is much more interesting to me than the WrestlePalooza card was. And I didn't hate the WrestlePalooza card for the most part, but for a show that was boasting WrestleMania caliber card, there was two matches on the show that actually people were like, this is great. Wasn't worth $30 fucking dollars. So I am, by the way, if you haven't already, do it, but Snug has, I will be using NordVPN this week because I'm just not doing this fucking $30 bundle. I'm just not. But other than that, we got some great matches on this show. A couple with some really nice built-in stories, specifically Seth and Cody, AJ and Cena. AJ and Cena's story being more built in over their last 9 years of on and off rivalry. And Rhea and Io and the Kabuki Warriors is a story that I've personally enjoyed quite a bit. It is also really great to see Bronson getting this fucking shot against Roman. The only one that I'm really not too high on is Stephanie and Tiffany. But other than that, we'll get into the predictions. But this card is still, in my opinion, a very, very entertaining card.
Yeah, as he said, and I honestly feel the same way, that Tiffany and Stephanie is the only one that I don't really care about. And honestly, I have not felt like I've actually enjoyed a build for a hot minute when it comes to a PLE. And this is the first PLE in a hot minute that the majority of the matches actually have fucking builds to them. So there's that as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's both of the women's matches for me that unfortunately I'm not too excited for this PLE. And that's just because, I mean, people are like, "Oh, Edgar just doesn't like women's wrestling." No, it's just, I don't know, just the tag team match, which we'll get into. This is a women's tag team match. The story for it. I mean, if you guys hear the shows, you would know I'm not the biggest fan of this storyline, so I can really not too thrilled about the match. But
and in Edgar's defense, he's not into it for very understandable reasons. Like we've gone into, it can be very cringe feeling when you're trying to see, like, or trying to understand like the heavy Japanese coming through English translation in a promo where it feels very chopped and very overacted at points. And Snug, I can attest to this. Snug does not hate women's wrestling because I've seen a lot of comments about that. Snug has actually enjoyed quite a few insanely good women's matches that he has seen over this year that he has gushed about. And he absolutely loves Charlotte and Alexa Bliss doing their thing as a tag team. So don't let anyone tell you he hates women's wrestling.
No, I'm not going to let you speak for me anymore, Blood. No, hell no. No, okay. But I mean, I'm so glad I got the VPN too, because I was literally spending like $90 on YouTube TV, and then it was $30 for that ESPN. I was spending $120 a month to watch WWE, and then I got the VPN. It was like $75 for a year, which means it's like $5 a month. And now I get to watch NXT too, so maybe we'll even start covering NXT. So I'm pretty psyched about that.
And on top of that, the VPN also has the added benefit of, like, dude, you can watch WWE on the WWE PLEs on Netflix where Raw is. So it feels like having a Netflix subscription is also now more worth it than it was before, rather than just having it for WWE's Raw when most of Netflix's library is shit you've seen a million times or has been on there for years. or it's shit that came back they already got rid of. But now you can switch your VPN to any country and get their Netflix library. So it also kind of saves you from having to have a bunch of different streaming services that you might not need because it might be on a different Netflix library in some other country. So maybe you don't need Hulu and you don't need Peacock and you might not need Disney Plus because it's everywhere somewhere else. But I definitely think the ESPN deal has also been a massively, what's the word I'm looking for? It has backfired exponentially, I feel like, in WWE. It has turned so many fans off. I cannot get through the amount of online discourse I've gotten on my channel and comment sections and messages asking my thoughts on, I mean, people on my Instagram saying, hey, do you think TKO has ruined WWE? How do you feel about WWE today? You know, I was getting back into it last year and now just for some reason this year, I feel like they've gone too corporate. Someone compared it to McDonald's saying, they said, when I was a kid, WWE was like the old WWE or the old McDonald's Playhouse restaurants. Now the McDonald's now look like they've grown up and gone to college and got a job. And that's how I feel like WWE has turned out. Like it grew up and got a job. And they feel like a lot of the whimsy is gone. And I can't disagree with that sentiment. So when we get these cards, you want to feel like there's whimsy to them. There's wonder to them. But then you see a match like champion versus champion, and it's only to put over some bullshit fucking gimmick title that they aren't going to mention again for another year. And then you go, oh, this is corporate. It's just a way for them to do some special show internationally so they can make a fuck ton of money in that country because that country paid them to come over. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
So
Now I have everything in one place with this VPN, which is nice. But at first, because I was always so used to having different subscriptions to watch different things, because I watch different sports, I was kind of used to that, you know. So when this whole thing with ESPN and the WWE happened, I was like, oh, what's one more subscription, right? It's no big deal. I mean, that's just the life. That's just the time that we live in. That's normal, you know. So I fucking added the ESPN thing, right? Boom, no big deal. Paid the $30 fucking dollars, whatever. And then I get an email from YouTube TV and they're like, "Oh, some of your sports channels are no longer going to be available on YouTube anymore." So I'm like, "Well, what the fuck? The only reason I have YouTube TV, I'm paying all this money is to have SmackDown and to have the sports channels. But I'm not going to pay $90 on YouTube TV just for SmackDown." So that's when I started looking into the VPN. It was cheaper. And now I have all the wrestling shows in one thing. And then now I'm just like, what the fuck was I doing, man? I was spending so much fucking money.
So is SmackDown is SmackDown on Netflix in other countries?
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here. For real?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man, now I'm really excited about this VPN.
Yeah. So anyway.
No commercials too, apparently.
No commercials, dude. So yeah, man, they got it good in different countries, bro. It's just here in the States.
America's greedy as fuck, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, like WWE was like, yeah, we're gonna make every other country is gonna be easy to watch us except for our main fucking
market.
Yeah.
Like it's like I tell you what, like, and people, before we get into the predictions, because I just want to cross this T and dot this I. For over half this year, when I was watching Raw on Netflix, I had no commercials whatsoever. Even when I clicked on it, it would say this live event includes ads. I would never get ads. So I would see all the stuff in between the commercial breaks happening, like the wrestling still going on. I would get to see all the backstage segments or the Jackie Redmond interviews, the Byron Saxton interviews happening in the audience. Randomly, about a month or so ago, I started getting ads. So, and I felt ripped off because I pay like $23 a month for fucking a 4K Ultra HD fucking Netflix on 2 TVs. And literally for 7.5 months, 8 months, I had no ads. And then I'm like getting screwed with ads. And it really killed my enjoyment a lot for watching Raw because I'm in the middle of a great fucking match. And then now it gets interrupted. And I have a counter in my corner that says 1 of 5 ads, 6 minutes. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this? So yeah, man. But I digress.
All right. Let's get into the matches now, shall we? WWE Crown Jewel 2025. And let's start off with the big one. I think this one might be the main event, although I've been seeing the reports that Roman Reigns is going to be the main event, but we'll see. Let's go with Cody Rhodes, the current undisputed WWE champion over on SmackDown, versus Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion over on Raw. Now, we first saw this face off for the very first time after Clash in Paris. And it wasn't until a few days later where I started to realize how big this match really is, because there's so much history between these two guys. Like, when you think of Crown Jewel, champion versus champion, you just think, oh, this is just an exhibition match. They're going to wrestle for some random championship belt that they started doing once a year, and it doesn't really mean anything. However, the WWE made it a thing to make this match way more than that. At least that's what it feels like to me. It's personal here. There's history here. And also Seth Rollins, he's kind of at a disadvantage here because he's 0-3 versus Cody Rhodes. And there's a lot on the line here for Seth Rollins. For Seth Rollins has everything to lose here if he does not win, which to me makes this a little more interesting. I'm going to hold my predictions until the end because I kind of have an idea where where your head is when it comes to this match. But go ahead, Bled, tell me your prediction when it comes to this one.
Well, I'm going to start with Toxics, actually, because this is quick. So for Seth v. Cody, he says, as much as I would want to see Cody go back-to-back, it's got to be Seth. He also elaborates that he thinks Cody v. Seth is going to start setting up for War Games, and Seth somehow convinces Drew to be on his team, so we get Jacob Fatu in War Games because there's no way Jay and Knight can coexist, especially with Punk, Roman, and Jimmy, plus Knight hates Roman, so I don't see him being a part of War Games, end quote from our boy Toxic. And I can understand where he's coming from there. Now, for my predictions, Seth v. Cody, this next to John Cena and AJ Styles probably has the most build, most history out of anything else on this card. And I use AJ and Cena as an example, though there hasn't been any face-to-face interaction with them because of their already 2v2 deadlock tie they have across 4 matches over the last 9 years. To me, that history is built in because it was also part of the reason they did this match in the first place. But with Seth v. Cody, this is like not just the last 3 years, 3.5 years that Cody's been back in the making. We're talking Seth was taking L's to Cody when Cody was still Stardust, okay? The first team that ever beat the Shield in a tag team match was the Rhodes. Goldust and Stardust were the first to beat the Shield, and it was Seth who ate the pin from Cody's Crossroads in a great sell. So this, from all the history we have since Cody's return at 38, losing at 39, the build back up to 40 where Seth became Cody's Shield, backing each other up throughout the year, and then to this year where you have their final break where Seth turns heel at Mania, forms the Vision. Him and Cody had that stare down earlier in the year after Mania, but they don't touch each other. They stay out of each other's way. Now we're here. It's extremely personal. Seth is breaking Cody's heart, saying we were never friends, and you can see the hurt in Cody's face. This is more than just a title match to me. To me, the title doesn't fucking matter. To me, this is 100% about who's right. Is Seth the guy he thinks he is, or will Cody always be the guy Seth wants to be? And for me personally, I think because Cody has taken the last 3 one-on-ones and has him beat in tag team victories in the past during his first run 11 years ago, I've got to say, I think Seth absolutely needs this one because, as I already stated before, how many times can you get so close to the goal and miss before, just like Paul said, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed lose faith in you, and the wise man does too.
I completely agree. It has to be Seth. My thought process on this is if Seth is losing, why ask what happens if he doesn't? Like, if he doesn't win, why ask that question if he's not winning? Why bring up the 0-3 streak that he has if Seth is losing? There's just a ton of things that have been brought up throughout this build that if Seth was losing would not have been brought up whatsoever. So under that thought process, it has to be Seth freaking Rollins winning this.
What a big fucking difference it is this year in Crown Jewel compared to last year with Cody versus Gunther. Like last year, that shit felt like just an exhibition match for a random championship, and now this year, this match, like you said, Blood, it has nothing to do with that championship belt. This is everything to do with Seth Rollins and his future, and Cody Rhodes and his personal issues with Seth Rollins and the history. And it's so goddamn good, man. And I'm so pumped for this one. However, I'm going to have to go with Seth Rollins. Yes, Seth Rollins. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go with Seth Rollins losing this. And yes, Seth Rollins needs this win. But just think about it. Like, the way that we've been seeing Seth Rollins in the past few weeks, he's been, pissed off coming after his loss to CM Punk and AJ Lee. And he seems to be like a little bit out of control. Like he's losing his patience. He's like not sure of himself. And, like he asked the question, what happens if I lose? So that's, someone who isn't really confident in themselves doesn't ask what happens if I lose. So there's a lot of doubt within Seth Rollins. And if he loses to Cody again a fourth time, that's just going to be the fucking the final straw from Seth Rollins, and he's just going to explode after that. And I think that's what I want to see. I want to see Seth Rollins just go crazy or crash out, how the kids say it, if he loses to Cody Rhodes. I think that'll lead to a lot more storylines, like, maybe Braun Breaker starts to doubt Seth Rollins more. Maybe we can start seeing that build up with Braun Breaker starts teasing that turn on Seth Rollins. Or, who knows, man? Even Brock Lesnar can, come in and take over whatever faction this is. Or, Paul Heyman starts to turn on Seth. I don't know, man. I feel like it'll be a lot more interesting. It puts more attention on Seth Rollins if Seth Rollins loses again for a fourth time. And like you said, Blood, if he loses, he's still a champion.
That's very true. And that was kind of my biggest takeaway from this past Raw was they're acting like if he loses, all faith is gone. And it's like, wait a second. You're losing a title no one gives a shit about except for once a year. You'll still go home, go to bed, and wake up the next day as the world heavyweight champion in the face of Raw. Same thing with Cody. If he loses, he will wake up the undisputed champion, the QB1 of WWE in the face of SmackDown. There are two final points I'd like to make here. One, I think Brock Lesnar is a secret factor we're not thinking about. I think Brock's getting involved here somewhere, somehow. And also, two, I think that it's hard. It's a lot for us to realize. I think many of us have not realized WrestleMania was 6 months ago already. 6 months ago already. And it feels weird that it feels like at the same time, does it feel too soon to start sowing cracks in this team? It also feels like it's taken too long to get here. So I'm ready for it this weekend. But you'll have to pardon me, folks. I do need to use the restroom, so please continue, and then I'll catch back up.
So while we wait on Blood.
And I'm going to screenshot toxic stuff and send it to you, Tommy.
All right.
Well, while we wait on Blood, Tommy, now that Mr. Blood brought Brock Lesnar up and how he could be the factor that we're not really considering here when it comes to this match, how would you feel about Brock Lesnar getting involved in this match, even though this is a regular one-on-one match, which means that there is rules But what if Brock Lesnar cost Seth Rollins the match? How do you think Brock Lesnar is going to be a factor in this? If he is, what do you think is going to happen?
I absolutely think he is going to be a factor, especially with how much Paul Heyman is bringing up the fact that Brock Lesnar is a streak breaker, all of that. He has brought it up so damn much, it's not even funny at this point. So I absolutely think that at some point in this match, Brock will find a way to get involved in this. Because odds are Cody might have a few tricks up his sleeve as well, knowing the fact that Seth has the vision. So if he does, odds are Brock is going to come in on that again, especially with how much Paul Heyman has brought up everything involving Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm super pumped for this one. Yeah, man. I mean, we have also Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, but I don't see them getting involved here because this match, like, I don't. I mean, even with Brock Lesnar being there, I don't see there being any interferences here, man. This could be either no interferences or way too many interferences. It's either one or the other, but it's definitely interesting. But all right, moving on here from one champion match to another. Stephanie Vaquer, the current women's world champion, versus Tiffany Stratton, the SmackDown WWE women's champion. And lately, I mean, Stephanie Vaquer, the way that she's been built up has been marvelous. I mean, from winning battle royals to, beating all these people left and right, they've been building the shit out of Stephanie Vaquer. It looks like she's on her way up right now, especially after winning the Women's World Championship. And meanwhile, Tiffany Stratton, on the other hand, unlike Stephanie Vaquer, who's a new champion, fresh champion, that everyone loves, it feels like Tiffany Stratton has kind of been on her way down. There's been a lot of people that have been calling for her to lose the championship time and time again. She's been champion for fucking, it feels like forever. I think she's being close to being one of the longest reigning WWE Women's Champion here pretty soon. And her last matches have just been not very good, unfortunately, man. So this one is going to be kind of hard to predict because I feel like if Stephanie Vaquer wins, then what does that say about Tiffany Stratton, especially after her last like few couple months as a champion hasn't been very good? But also, if Tiffany Stratton wins, that kind of takes some away from Stephanie Vaquer, doesn't it? Who do you think is going to win this one, Tommy?
I'm going to start off with Toxic. He says Stephanie versus Tiffany. Stephanie, no questions asked. That makes sense for him. But I have to agree with him on it. I think that if Stephanie Vaquer loses here, it kind of stops her momentum that she's had all this time for a little bit. So my prediction here is absolutely Stephanie Vaquer. We have said this time and time and time again. Tiffany Stratton is not championship material whatsoever. She has proved that time and time and time again. Either there are multiple botches coming from her during her matches, or it is extremely clear that it is heavily rehearsed. So there's that as well. So I am inclined to agree with Toxic that this is Stephanie Vaquer's match to win.
Oh, yeah, this one's really hard to predict, man. Because, I mean, I was such a big supporter of Tiffany Stratton when she was on NXT. There was just something about her that just, to me, screamed main roster. Like down there on NXT, she stood out to me the most out of everyone else. I don't know why. And she got called up, wasn't surprised by that. She, won the WWE Women's Championship fairly quickly. I wasn't too surprised about that either because from the beginning when I saw her, I was like, man, this girl's pretty good. And then she became champion and she was better as a chaser. And then the last time that we saw both Stephanie Vaquer and Tiffany Stratton face to face, which was the first time, unlike the match with Cody and Seth, there's no personal issue here. There's nothing really here. These are both, you can say, baby faces. There's a lot of respect between each other. They're just gonna have a match and it's just gonna be whatever. But from where I'm standing, I think I would like to see Stephanie Vaquer win this one more. Blood, what about you?
Sorry about that, folks. As far as it goes, this is my least anticipated match on the card, as I've said. It's no secret. I have not been on Tiffy time since day one. I thought she was called up way too fast, and I genuinely believe it was more for her look rather than her wrestling ability. She is a semi-talented wrestler, definitely can go in the ring, has the stamina for it, insanely talented athlete, but I don't think she has fully grasped the psychology of wrestling while in the ring, and it shows. And in my opinion, I feel like every time she's had a high-profile match in some regard, she has been exposed. Her and Charlotte at Mania, exposed. Her and Nia Jax, exposed. Her and Jade Cargill every time, exposed. And it's just constant botches, missed timings. She never seems like she's confident. And even when she cuts promos against other people, she feels like she is trying to convince herself more than her opponent or the audience every time she speaks. I genuinely get that feeling. That is the tonality coming out of her. Stephanie, however, carries herself like she is the head bitch in charge. She carries herself with grace, with professionalism, with a sort of just a confidence that exudes out of herself. And when I think about who should win this, I'm sorry. Tiffany has been champion for about 9 months now. And as far as it goes, I'm not impressed with her still. But if she's retained for 9 months, one loss is not going to kill her, even though a bunch of people are sick and tired of seeing Tiffy time. And at this point, she has become what everybody was saying Jey Uso is, a catchphrase. And at the end of the day, Stephanie, who just won that title, should not be losing her very next match. That would be terrible booking because you're basically telling me, oh, she can beat Io Sky, who is 20 times the wrestler Tiffany is, but she can't beat Tiffany herself. Wouldn't make sense to me whatsoever. It has to be Stephanie, if not for the wrestling ability on its own, and aside from her being a new arrival to the main roster and burning hot, in my opinion, more over than Tiffany, it should be for the very fact that she just won that championship. And even if she loses here for a bullshit title that no one cares about, it's still you telling the audience, oh, you'll put the title on her, but you won't let her win matches right after. It just feels like you would. It feels to me like you're just telling me, oh, you put the title on her just because you couldn't leave it on Naomi and then put it back on whomever with your original plan before Naomi got pregnant. To me, you would be insulting the entire point of Stephanie's rise if she loses directly after her coronation as champion 2 weeks later. It would be stupid.
Well, Tiffany's better than Sol Ruka. All right, moving on.
By the way, Snug,
Trip and choke on it.
The last 4 champions, which has been, while it has been dubbed the undisputed women's champion, as it says on the title for some fuck all reason, the longest reign has in fact been Tiffany Stratton at currently 277 days. Io Sky falling behind at 245.
There you go. Yeah, that makes sense. I remember her saying something about that at the contract signing on SmackDown, like trying to rub it in Tiffany's face. Like, I know you just became champion, but I've been champion for over 200 days or something like that.
You know, it's funny.
So,
she
yeah.
can brag about it. I don't even remember who the fuck she beat for it.
Nia Jax.
Nia, cash
beat
in.
Nia?
Cashed in on her.
That's right. That tells you how forgettable it's been, because I can't tell you more than 3-4 title matches max she's had defended that in 9 months.
Well, you're getting old, blood, but it's okay.
I have an eidetic memory, Snug.
All right. John Cena versus AJ Styles, y'all. Now, this is for the people that, unlike Mr. Blood, have really good memories, that remember the feud that they had, what was it, back in 2016 or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not me. I wasn't really too big on that feud at the time. So this match, to me, I'm one of those that was like, I wanted more from this. And I get that Cena, he's on his way out, his dates are limited, but I need more than just a video package and AJ Styles to come out and be like, oh, we're going to have a great match. It's going to kick ass. Like, but that's just me, you know. I know there's a lot of fans out there that remember that feud that they had back whenever it was, and you know, they can't wait for this match. But for me, it's just John Cena's great, AJ Styles is great. They're gonna have a match, and that's it. That's how I feel about this thing. I'm excited for it because I like both of these guys. But it's just gonna be like, to me, just feels like an exhibition match, and I honestly don't care who wins. Which sucks. I hate to say that. So, what do you guys think?
Well, firstly, Toxic says AJ versus Cena. As much as he wants to say Cena for the shit show that he and Brock put on at WrestlePalooza, he's got to go with AJ Styles. Now, my prediction before I go, eidetic memory is like photographic memory, Snug. My memory is literally flawless. And as far as concerned, I do remember AJ Styles' debut at the Royal Rumble in 2016 before having a feud in the late summer, early fall with John Cena for the face that runs the place. That was the tagline of that whole feud. You know, when I beat you, I'll, you know, the champ is here. Yeah, well, I'm the face that runs the place. And it was amazing because I came up going to TNA regularly over here in Orlando. And I've met AJ Styles several times, and I've watched that man wrestle probably 50, 60 times in person. And I have always been a fan of him. And it was always said back then that he was the John Cena of TNA, that he was the face of TNA. And so this was always a dream match for people when it first started, the face of WWE versus the face of TNA. And as far as it goes, because they're tied 2-2, and all 4 of their matches, by the way, have been certified fucking classics. They have not had a bad match. In fact, their 4 matches were incredible. I mean, the audiences came alive every time. And I remember the first time they faced off, that stare down, the fucking building blew the roof off the place. So I'm excited for this because I know the magic these guys can produce when they are in a squared circle together. That being said, I do believe Cena needs to win because he lost at SummerSlam. He lost at WrestlePalooza. He cannot lose here when now it's being reported that he might be wrestling at Survivor Series before his final actual match, December 13th, against potentially being reported right now as Gunther, that they will decide whom will face Cena in his last match based on a tournament of a bunch of contenders that will come up clamoring to be his last match. Apparently reports is Gunther will win that and then face him at Saturday night's main event in his final appearance. But that being said, if you're really trying to nail one more record, and we all know how much Triple H loves his goddamn records, before he retires, he needs to win this so he can secure his 100th ever pay-per-view/PLE win in his entire career. And he would need to beat AJ Styles to do that. And I think because he's already done the job twice, and he's probably doing the job in his retirement match. He needs at least one more win on this retirement tour before he says goodbye and we can't see him again.
Yeah, I'm going Cena. There is no doubt about that. As much as I love AJ Styles, I have to go Cena here. As Styles has said, this is the battle of the final years. Cena's final run is the entirety of this year. AJ Styles has flat out said this is most likely going to be his final crown jewel. So this is basically his final run as well. That hurts to say because I love fucking both of these men. But I have to go John Cena here. There's a bunch of history here. I absolutely love them both. I have said that time and time and time again. But the truth here is Cena just needs this more, especially after the decimation that he got from Brock Lesnar.
Yeah. I just wish I had a more decent build for this match, man. This match deserves more. And this match got put together because supposedly this is what the fans wanted. This is what the fans were asking for. The fans made it happen. What was that?
I love WWE's fucking gaslighting. They wanted to do this match. They knew they didn't have a time to build the match because of Cena's date appearances and his filming schedule. So what they fucking did was they had him tweet to the fans to make the fans think it was the fans' idea, and then had AJ Styles tweet to make the fans think that AJ was actually responding, when in truth it was the plan all along, and they knew the only way to fucking build it was just to put it out there and see how the fans felt. But this was what they were going to do anyway. Making it seem like the fans had anything to do with it is fucking hilarious. And it's just corporate gaslighting. We were always going to end up here.
Could be, yeah, but it's just like, it just makes me not really care for this match. And that's unfortunate because these two guys are on their way out. And I don't even care who wins. I don't even have a prediction.
I will say this. I'm agreeing with you that the build part fucking sucks because I know they could have had one really last good build, even with only like 2 promo segments. Had we gotten rid of the bullshit with Brock Lesnar and just erased that completely from the timeline of this final fucking run, we really could have salvaged the beginning of the last half of this fucking run for Cena, because Logan Paul and Heat was great. If they had just started right after that with him feuding with AJ leading up to this and skipped WrestlePalooza entirely, or just had an angle at WrestlePalooza instead of a match, it could have been great. We would have some real meat here on the bone. But at the same time, I do believe that even though AJ's throwaway line of, we don't need a story, it's going to kick ass, is like, you just told me, screw the story, you rushed it, you're just going to have a great match.
We don't need a story.
But I do believe that they are going to make you care during the match.
It's kind of very clear to me that their goal here when it comes to a build for this was to make everybody go, hey, we have a past together. That is our build. When in reality, there was like no actual build whatsoever.
Yeah, and it's kind of contradictory too, because they're like, oh, we're on ESPN now. We have all these new fans that we have to impress and, puts more eyes on our product. And then they're going to put a match for the new fans with the build from like 6 years ago. So what, they expect the new fans to go back and watch the old tapes?
Shit, more than that. Hell, the whole build of this match was the video package they played on Monday. That was the build for the new fans. They're like, hey, these guys have faced 4 times. Let's take you all the way back to when AJ Styles debuted in the Royal Rumble, and we'll take you all the way through to the very last time they faced, and now you're all caught up. It's literally like a Netflix skip intro button. Only you can't skip the intro. Here's what happened last time on WWE checks notes 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Because all their matches took place between like 2016 to like, I believe the very last one was like 2019. Like this shit happened a minute ago.
Yeah,
So they're like, hey, we know you don't know fuck all about these people. And you probably don't know who AJ Styles is, but everybody knows who John Cena is because he's also a massive fucking movie star and he's Peacemaker, which is insanely popular right now.
Yeah.
They're like, we're just going to show you some shit that we did like a decade ago, and then you'll be good.
Yeah. And even fans like me who were watching at that time, I don't even care about what happened fucking 6-7 years ago. What makes you think new fans are going to care about this match? They're not. They're not.
Y'all remember when AJ Styles was the cover of WWE 2K18? Because it was the house that AJ Styles built. Like it was literally like the whole game cover was predicated on the fact that he was like running fucking SmackDown. And that was like, and that's when he was at his peak in WWE. And ever since then, they fumbled him, randomly decided to give him to The Undertaker for The Undertaker's retirement match. And then they've done almost nothing with him on and off for years. They've given him the Shinsuke treatment. And it's like, this is fucking AJ Styles, bro. Had you guys kept him strong since retiring, having their Undertaker's retirement match, he lost, but he had Undertaker's last match. That's a big fucking deal. It's a huge deal. Okay. Instead of keeping him strong after that to present day, hell, if you had just kept him strong from when he turned him heel last year against Cody and kept that entire, even when he got injured, if you had brought him back strong, the way he left strong, an intimidating heel that pushed Cody to his limits in a title match twice, then we would be thinking, oh shit, this is going to be off the charts. Because every time Cena had a match with Styles, Styles was the heel. And it worked. And people cared. You're doing babyface versus babyface, and one of the baby faces is in a fucking mid-card tag team story.
Yeah.
So it's like, come on.
And this match is mostly like for fans like yourself, for example, who you said it. I was going to the TNA shows in Orlando, and I was an AJ Styles fan from day one.
Yeah, I've watched most of his career.
And it reminds me the same thing. Draven Grimes and the homie from the Heel Ship podcast. Shout out to him. Same thing. Huge TNA fan since day one. So he fucking grew up watching AJ and Cena. So he's really excited for this. But this is just strictly for like the WWE diehard fucking fans. Like
that also have an encyclopedic knowledge of, 2 decades old TNA stories.
Yeah.
Like,
and the WWE they don't usually do shit like this.
No, they
which
don't.
Is weird.
And what's funny to me is that before we move on, because we've taken too much time on this, they're expecting people to be the diehard fans that care about this. And I'm going to say this again for the final father fucking time, people. Most of your diehard fans, you've been pushing out all year with your price gouging.
Exactly.
And with all of your high-ass ticket prices, with your bullshit fucking ESPN $30 a month streaming deals that no one wants to afford, on top of a fucking $23 Netflix subscription, on top of, all these other things they pay while we're in a recession, by the way. And you're literally like, yeah, well, somebody's going to watch it. But in case the people who do know that care are watching it, just so we'll shut y'all up on the internet, here's a video package. Go fuck yourself.
This match better be fucking good, man.
Oh, I know it's gonna be amazing because AJ and Cody have extremely similar styles. Extremely similar.
I know it's gonna be good, but I mean,
match was a banger. I know this one is going to be a fucking banger.
It better be a fucking banger, especially like I know like fucking John Cena and AJ Styles are they're veterans, but
They've never had a bad match with each other. That's the positive here. They've never had, every match they had got "this is awesome" chance, blew the roof off the place, and it was the highest like anticipated match every evening the 4 times they did it. That's the positives here. They have proven 4 fucking times they will give you everything.
It better fucking be, because the match versus Cody, fucking finisher, was like finisher after finisher after finisher. Then the match with Lesnar, finisher after finisher. I need to see something more from John Cena at Crown Jewel.
Well,
I'm losing my patience.
AJ and him are gonna probably still spam finishers towards the end because in their matches they also used each other's finishers several times. But it's gonna be like, imagine it'll be the Cody match, but it won't be all over the fucking arena. It'll be in the ring, around the ring, more personal, but it's gonna be fun. That's the thing. It'll be fun. There's no titles here. It's just two friends duking it out.
The biggest thing we also need to remember as well is that this is a best of 5 7 fucking years later, because AJ beat Cena at Money in the Bank 2016 and SummerSlam 2016, and then Cena beat Styles at Royal Rumble 2017 for the WWE title, and then a SmackDown in 2018. So this is a best of 5 7 years later.
Yeah, that's a good fact. Thanks for those stats there, Tommy. But yeah, I think because Cena lost his last 2 matches, it's Cena's retirement tour. I think it's safe to say John Cena is going to win this one, right?
100th PLE, brother. You know how Triple H feels about fucking records.
All right.
Give Cena 2 records in 1 year, I guess.
All right, let's move on. We got some tag team actions. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Kabuki Warriors. Kabuki in a tag team match. Now, the storyline, I mean, but we've already talked about this time and time again. I'm not feeling it. However, this is Australia. This is Perth. This is Crown Jewel. So you have to have your biggest fucking, not just women's athlete in the WWE, but your biggest Australian star in Rhea Ripley. You have to have her on this card. And I think this to me just feels like, all right, let's just put Rhea Ripley. And this whole thing was just, to me, feels like it was made just to have Rhea Ripley on this card, which you should have her on here. But this storyline has just not been interesting to me. I don't like how Rhea is involved in this. Whatever. It's just whatever to me, this tag team match, unfortunately. I'm going to go with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky just for the simple fact that it is her hometown, her home country.
Well, Toxic says Rhea and Io versus the Kabuki Warriors. He says Rhea and Io win, but he thinks Kairi gets pinned and Asuka gets pissed, and Kairi finally snaps and turns on Asuka. Not a bad prediction. I think it's a little too soon. I think she needs to push Kairi further off the edge. I think we need to save that maybe for what I'm assuming is probably going to be a part of the women's War Games match. So I think we need to push Kairi a little further. I think Kairi needs to snap in War Games. But as far as it goes, I agree. Rhea is not only the biggest Australian star they have, she's probably the most popular woman on their entire roster across the company, period. They do not come alive for people the way they come alive for Rhea Bloody Ripley. She's also hometown hero, man. The moment she comes out, I guarantee it'll be the loudest pop of the night or top fucking three. I will say that regardless of how anybody feels about the story, that's your choice. That's how you feel. I personally hated the story at first until they hooked me when they gave us Kairi's reasoning and everything weeks ago, where she feels indebted to Asuka. They gave us stakes. They gave us an actual reason that makes sense, a familial bond that makes sense. And family jades you. It also makes you feel like you're trapped sometimes when you want to make a decision, but you feel like you're betraying your family by deciding against them. And it makes sense to me. I understand that from personal shit in my life. So with me, I resonate with this. But either way you feel about the story, think of the 4 fucking people in this match. You got Rhea, Io, Asuka, and Kairi. And even if you take out Kairi, who is still a phenomenal fucking wrestler, you've got 3 future Hall of Famers remaining. Rhea, Io, and Asuka are Hall of Famers. There's no fucking doubt about it. And Asuka is a veteran. These girls, all 4 of them, wrestle like there is no tomorrow. This match, in my opinion, will probably be the second best wrestled match of the night. When I'm looking at just the shit that we will get between Io and Asuka, it might be the second or third best wrestled match of the night behind Cody and Seth. Because the other matches are going to be fun, but most of those other matches are filled with brawlers, strikers, and high flyers. But when it comes down to it, I have to say, I think because of how much has been happening, do you really want to pin Rhea in Australia and risk the Australian crowd turning on the show with bullshit chants? You know, you can have them lose if you're trying to get more heat on Asuka, but because you already gave Asuka the one-upsmanship on Io, I say you need to have Rhea and Io win, then have Asuka and Kairi do some heinous shit after to get some heat back on themselves. Because they said because Asuka herself said that they needed to teach Io and Rhea some respect this weekend. That doesn't necessarily mean that they'll need to beat it into them during the match. I think something's going to happen after the match. But I think Rhea, Io take the W.
I do absolutely love how Asuka has been pushing this match over time. Because when she originally misted Rhea, she turned Rhea into an avatar on her social media. And then she turned Io into a Smurf to the point where she redid the poster for this and put her and Kairi in regular stuff and then turned Io and Rhea both into Smurfs. So I absolutely love how Asuka has been pushing this and trying to just shove it in there going, hey, this is a match. It's gonna be funny. Just watch me beat the crap out of them. So with that, I'm gonna have to go against Asuka. I am absolutely going with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. I feel like Rhea needs this, honestly, especially with how much both of them have been misted from Rhea. So I absolutely feel, well, both Io and Rhea have been misted by Asuka. Is what I was trying to say. So my thoughts on this and my final prediction is Rhea Ripley and Io Sky beating Kairi and Asuka. Although I feel like after this, we're going to see some cracks from Kairi, like wanting to break, but she's not going to break just yet. I do agree with you, Blood, that it should happen either right before War Games or during it.
All right. And so far we got 5 matches, but we have one more Friday Night SmackDown left. And if we remember how things played out at Clash in Paris, where LA Knight got
Roman
added.
and Bronson.
Yes, I'm going there. LA Knight was added at the very last minute to, I forgot which match he was, where he was added as a special guest referee.
Usos versus Vision.
Thank you. So maybe we could see one more match being added to Crown Jewel. I don't know. But for now, we got 5. And the 5th one is Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed in an Australian street fight. This is a rematch from Clash in Paris. These two have faced each other in the past. And we talked about this on the Monday Night Raw review. Just like Rhea, Bronson Reed is also from Australia. So I think last time they were in Australia, Bronson Reed wasn't even on the card. And there was a lot of fans that were like, what the fuck? Like, this is Bronson fucking Reed and you don't have him. And now you fast forward a year later, now he's on the card versus Roman fucking Reigns, the biggest fucking star in the WWE. So, man, I want Bronson Reed to win this one. This is going to be a street fight. This is supposedly, according to Paul Heyman, his match that he's known to make famous. So technically, Bronson Reed has the advantage, especially since last time he faced Roman Reigns. Bronson Reed lost. I don't see Bronson Reed going 0-2 versus Roman. I hope Bronson Reed wins this one.
Toxic says, Bronson v. Roman. I want to see Roman win, even though Bronson probably needs it more, but he's going with Roman. My personal thought is I definitely think, you know what? Fuck think. I know Bronson needs to win. Bronson needs this. You've set him up with all this great promo work, the tribal thief stuff, mugging Roman left, right, and center for most of the end of the summer, body bagging this man damn near at Clash in Paris, and basically having a pull apart brawl. Like, how much a difference a year and a half makes? Just a year. A year ago at War Games, Bronson was on a great run against the Bloodline with the Bloodline 2.0 as the backup heavy to Solo Sikoa, and did an amazing tsunami off the top of the cage. And unfortunately, because CM Punk pulled Roman out of the way off the table, the man broke both of his ankles simultaneously. I can only imagine how much that must suck to be a man that is over 300 pounds, having to heal from two broken ankles that you can't walk on. But the fact of the matter is, they were pushing him in a big story. So not only does it make sense that Bronson is here, not just because Seth felt like because he had gotten destroyed by Bronson so specifically, menacingly, and dominantly, that he felt like Bronson had earned his respect and needed to be a part of the vision. The story goes back further than that with Bronson. Bronson being against Roman in War Games last year is a detail a lot of people forget. And it makes sense that Bronson is here with Roman now because he tried to flatten this man like Frogger a year ago. That being said, I desperately think Bronson needs this to solidify the tribal chief, to have an actual win over Roman. And it doesn't have to be clean. It doesn't have to be clean. He's a heel. We can find a dirty tactic to get Bronson having a win over Roman and trying to violate him again. And maybe the Usos come out or whatever, which is totally fine. But at the end of the day, you cannot build up Braun Breaker as much as you have been and then have Bronson Reed have two back-to-back massive matches against the biggest star in the company and have him lose both and expect us to believe that he's this vicious, crazy Samoan that your grandfather and your father warned you about. And because if that's the truth, he needs to beat Roman. And again, it doesn't have to be clean, but it needs to fucking happen. Otherwise, I feel like you are wasting a massive opportunity with Bronson here. Because if he beats Roman, it can feed into Roman needing to get his hands on them during War Games, especially if he's screwed out of the victory.
So Roman absolutely does not need this, especially with the fact that he has already solidified himself as a fantastic champion nonetheless, due to the fact that he has one of, I believe it's like top 3 or 4 longest reigns in the WWE entirely. So overall, I would say that Roman Reigns really does not need to win here. So I am absolutely going with Bronson Reed. But my biggest thing is I don't think it's going to be clean, because I am going to remind you, Braun Breaker has nothing to do. So I think that right here is when Braun Breaker is going to come out and try to screw over Roman Reigns and get Bronson Reed that win. And then after the match, those two go after Roman and just flat out jump him like they've done time and time and time again, to the point where they put this man on a fucking stretcher. The last time these two, the last time they had a match with him, they put him on a stretcher. So my guess is that this is where Braun Breaker is going to come in.
See, that's one of the reasons why I don't like these fucking hardcore matches or street fights being, because besides the fact that they're overdone, we see them a lot, right? But like, we want to talk about Bronson Reed getting a clean win over Roman Reigns would do wonders for Bronson Reed, right? However, this is a street fight. No matter how Bronson Reed wins, Roman Reigns has an out because hey, well he beat me, but he used weapons. He didn't beat me clean.
Which is exactly why on Monday on our review of Raw, I said the only reason they made this no DQ was for the excuse to have interference. That way it protects Roman when he loses.
Which is dumb because like you're trying to get over Bronson Reed. Like, why not just give him a clean win over Roman, you know? And then, you know, there's going to be interferences. And oh, by the way, there's a report that came out earlier today that Roman Reigns is already saying that he's been jet lagged for the past 4 weeks and his body isn't feeling good. So it's just like, if Bronson Reed wins, he's going to defeat a fucking jet lag, beaten up Roman Reigns in a street fight with interference. Like, what the fuck? Come on.
The thing is, I don't know if you can have Bronson beat Roman clean. Think about it. When was the last time Roman lost to anyone one-on-one clean? Cody didn't even take the title off him at 40 clean because there were so many shenanigans, attitude adjustments, Rock interference, fucking Seth Rollins involved. Roman has not won a match clean in a fucking long time.
Won or lost?
He hasn't won one clean in a long time.
Oh,
Hell.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the thing is, it's hard to give Bronson a clean victory over someone who never wins clean themselves. So, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's kind of fair. It's fair. And Roman's like he's a baby face, but he's more of a tweener. So it's like, would I be mad if Bronson cheats to win? No, because he's playing the heel. Think of all the times Roman cheated to fucking win. God, Solo Sikoa, returning Jimmy Usos, freaking The Rock comes out for some fucking bullshit. Someone gets low blowed. Someone takes out the ref. Like, think of all the times that man has skated on bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with the heels. I'm with the heels winning by cheating, but because it's a no DQ match, the heel can't cheat. Everything is legal.
Exactly. So it protects Roman in defeat, but it also protects the way that Bronson wins. It gets him on the record book in a way that makes sense for the match type. And no one can say, oh, well, he only won because. No, because I guarantee you the Usos come out too. So it's one of those things where there's going to be shenanigans. Confusion is going to happen. Roman's going to get the short end of that stick. But the bright side is we get to give Bronson a victory of victories that is going to launch him into the stratosphere, in my opinion. I mean, what better way to solidify telling someone, hey, we're going to push you to the moon and we mean this shit, than letting him pin the biggest fucking star you've made since John Cena, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for this, except for the fact that we got to wake up super fucking early. But other than that, most of these matches, I'm pretty pumped for. And I hope that everyone listening or watching and everything, this kind of helped you get hyped for Crown Jewel as we are. So yeah, man, we're going to get together after Crown Jewel at some point to go over the outcomes of this. So yeah, we'll see you guys very, very soon. We'll probably see us for Friday Night SmackDown, and the rest of the week is going to be super busy for us. So Mr. Blood, if you will.
That's going to wrap it up for this episode of Snug Wrestling, folks. Thanks for kicking it with us as always. We appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. And don't forget, we're live every Monday and Friday night after Raw and SmackDown go off the air on Instagram, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to call it, and Facebook for live post-show reviews. And as a bonus for reaction content during the weekly WWE broadcasts on all of our socials. Then hang out with us every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on TikTok Live, where myself, Mr. Blood, and the leader of Snug Wrestling, that handsome Mexican over there, Edgar, do our weekly one-on-ones where we dive into random wrestling topics and answer your fan questions live. So follow Snug Wrestling on all social media platforms, as well as on Apple and Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Until next time, stay safe, stay savage, and stay snug. And for our boy Toxic Wing here with us, that was one time for the one time. Happy birthday tomorrow, Toxic. I said 4 letters.
4 letters. One word.
Yeet.
Yeet.
We love Tiffany Strand.
No, we don't.